And joining us now to discuss the wider impacts of this attack and the growing threat to the Jewish community, let's bring in CEO of Aish Global, Rabbi Stephen Burg. Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us here. It's always difficult to see any kind of attack domestically, particularly on a house of worship. But given all of the anti-Semitism that we have seen just rising so dramatically and tragically over the past couple years, it hurts even more every time to see this. But I will say there is good news here that prevention did save lives. But I do want to get your reaction overall to now what we're seeing pop up around the country, extra precautions.
Yeah, I mean, thank God, as we said, Temple of Israel, I've been there many, many times in Michigan, and it's really a center of West Bloomfield, and thank God, they were able to take out the shooter. But it's been a horrific week, and it's been a horrific 2.5 years for the Jewish community. Just this past week, there were shots fired at synagogues in Toronto. There were men in Northern California pulled out of the restaurant and beaten Jewish men and sent to the hospital. Constantly in New York, we're getting attacks, and the mayor of New York is dining with anti-Semites. This is really scary for our community. Thank God for today, but just in general, for the last 2.5 years, our young people have been demonized and yelled at and screamed at on campus. We were begging for help. No one's listening. And we kept saying this is what it was going to escalate to. And here we are, where actual violence is breaking out all over.
Yep, many people said it, and like you said, Rabbi, it is happening right before our very eyes. What is your message to the Jewish community, really the community at large there in Bloomfield or around the country, about how you can move forward beyond this? I mean, it's got to be dejecting for you.
Well, it's scary, and I hear that it would seem dejecting, but if you believe in God, you know that God has had our back for so many years. This is not the first time that the Jewish community has gone through this type of abuse, this type of anti-Semitism and racism, and we will prevail in the end. And I think we all have to know that, and we just have to be very vigilant. But in the end of the day, we serve a God who's moral and ethical, and we know that we're in the right, and we know that the way we're being demonized is just not true, and the things that are happening. So, I think the community is going to be really, really strong.
And do you think, Rabbi, that the fact that there is actually good news coming out of the incident today may actually serve to help empower other synagogues and their security teams around the country to maybe go through that FBI training that Temple Israel had just a few weeks ago, to really make sure that they are prepared no matter what happens in the worst case scenario?
Absolutely. Look, people, have thought that the Jewish community that we're pushovers, but we're not. We're gonna arm ourselves. We're gonna have security put in, and frankly, our community has spent many, many millions of dollars. And just a couple of years ago, you didn't have security guards like this. That's something that they had in Europe because of the anti-Semitism. Now that it's here, so it's depressing that we have to have these guards. But people need to understand, if you show up and you have ill will towards any of the Jews that are there, then we're not going to hesitate to defend ourselves, and we're not going to hesitate to fight back.
All right, we got to leave it there. Rabbi Stephen Burg, we appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. God bless, guys.